So, guys, we are live. Welcome to another episode of Little Asian Voices Dating in Your 20s, featuring our good friend Erica. Yay! Thanks
Hello.
so much
Hi,
for joining
Erica.
us.
Hi.
Yeah, so just a quick intro. Today, we're going to discuss kind of Erica's perspective on dating in her 20s and what her experience with that is like. Basically, we're just going to have a conversation and just kind of see where it goes. And if y'all have any questions, drop it in the live chat. Okay.
So,
That'll be
guys, we
really
are
good. We want to
live.
hear all your
Welcome to another
audience input.
episode of Little Asian Voices
Dating in Your
So,
20s, featuring our good friend Erica. Yay!
hello.
Thanks
Hi,
for joining
Erica.
us.
Hi.
All right.
So,
Yeah. So,
guys, just an quick
introduction
intro. Today,
wise,
we're going to discuss.
kind of, my name is Daphne. I'm located in Los Angeles, California. My current vocation is I'm a physical therapist, and yeah. So, what I do for fun, I like to hang with plants, as you guys know, and kind of hang out, go to the beach, be outside. That's me. Wendy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Wendy. I'm 25 years old. I'm located in Orange County, California. And right now, I'm playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I have over 300 hours. My island is amazing.
Yeah,
Come visit
girl.
me if you want to. Yeah, that's pretty much about me. And I work as an educator in higher ed.
Wendy.
Also do some. Hi, everyone. My name is Wendy, and that's it. We're going to turn it over to Erica, County, California.
Uh, Hi, I'm Erica. I work in the entertainment industry. I'm in LA as well.
Yeah,
Um,
West Coast.
yeah. um, but my hobbies, I just mostly play a lot of video games, like a lot of video games. I'm currently playing Valorant and sometimes Overwatch.
Nice,
And
nice.
You
also
play
I have
Animal Crossing?
yes, Animal
Wendy got
Crossing,
really
yes.
excited. Oh my gosh, guys. I need to get on this Animal Crossing train. Like, I need to get myself a Nintendo Switch. That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, it's
Eventually,
so
I'll get
much
there.
fun.
Oh my god, I'm gonna be addicted.
Yeah, it's scary addicting.
Oh my gosh. All right, so should we get started, guys? I'm excited for this. This will be a good topic to cover. Um, so Erica, I guess to start, just tell us about your dates. Like, are they mainly online? Where do they usually come from? And then how do you meet people?
So I guess most of my dates have been on dating apps,
Mhm,
only because I feel like they're becoming the new norm in meeting people.
mhm,
Ideally, yes, it would be nice to like go out and meet people.
mhm.
But I'm kind of introverted, so I just mostly just want to play it safe and then get to know
Mhm.
them online and then hopefully meet up.
Yeah,
Um,
I totally get that.
yeah, but the in person is definitely a lot like better in terms of like connection because it's a more organic relationship or like growing connection, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
feel
for
like the
sure,
energy is different. Yeah.
yeah, totally very different. You just gotta like, but of course in online you just gotta like be careful. Hopefully meet up.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Always send your location, right, to your
Oh
friends
yeah,
just in
right. And
case.
or just tell your friends like where you're going. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. It's like if I'm not back by this time, like make sure you give me a call or make sure you call
Yeah.
somebody. Yeah, it's super important. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I'll take the next question. So, Erica, what are some things that you look for in a first impression when you meet somebody? So, whether it's physical appearance or behavior wise, whether they're funny or not, humor, energy level, and what's the first thing that you look for when you meet someone?
So I hope this doesn't sound like weird, I guess, but they gotta be a gamer. Like
Yes,
Okay.
boys, listen up.
I
Fair.
otherwise I have like nothing to I mean, yes, I have other hobbies as well, but gaming is like my passion.
Yeah.
So
Mhm,
like and that's another thing too when it comes to like hobbies, like they have to be passionate and they have
Mhm.
to like
mhm.
have some kind of like good reciprocation in terms of talking. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I've met other gamers, and unfortunately, they are pretty awkward and they don't know how to hold a conversation. But,
Yeah,
um, it's just nice to have like that, you know, easy conversation. And
Yeah.
that's
yeah. I
another thing
mean,
I look for.
mhm.
It's just you can easily talk to them. about almost anything. And
Mhm.
I'm kind of an open book as well. Like I
That's
basically just
awesome.
say whatever, and then
Mhm.
depending how they will react is how I would, see if we're
Yeah.
compatible.
Yeah, I mean, the banter is so important, right? When you're talking
Yeah,
to somebody, I mean, imagine like talking to a wall. You're just kind of like,
yeah. Or like they're like, or like they would, I don't know. Yeah, it's just a whole lot, like just a lot of like things to do. Like well, for me when I'm on dates, I just like overthink a lot of things. But sometimes you just have to like step back and be like, whoa, okay, just maybe
hmm
like why are they doing that, and then just kind of like
yeah,
assess like
Mhm.
the situation.
Yeah.
exactly. And also, like, to be fair, sometimes first dates can be just like a little awkward, because sometimes
Yeah,
it's like first
that's
time
true.
meeting somebody
Yeah,
in person or like meeting somebody even over FaceTime, like a complete stranger, right? You're kind of just like,
yeah.
so, and it takes some people sometimes to warm up.
Oh
That's a
Mhm.
yeah,
good
for
point.
sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, do
Gotcha.
you believe in love at first sight?
Um,
Ooh.
uh, when I was little, probably, but not so much now.
Yeah. More
Yeah,
realistic.
yeah,
That
Mm-hmm.
love now.
yeah. Like I was definitely hopeless romantic when I was
Mhm.
younger,
Yeah,
but
same. Yeah.
yeah, as you grow up, it's like, oh well, no, that's not realistic, or like maybe my I don't know. Yeah, I feel like love is just so complicated right now.
Mhm.
hmm
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, to be fair, they can come true, right, Wendy?
I don't know about that anymore. Do we still believe
Oh.
in love at this age?
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
true.
gosh.
Yeah,
I mean, like, there has to be love, not, I guess, attraction to start. It doesn't have to be like love right away, I guess, but that's
yeah,
just my personal opinion.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I listened to a TED talk on that, how like with dating apps and like social media that has actually like reshaped our dating choices, our mating choices in terms of like behavioral evolution because we're overwhelmed with like an abundance of options. It's actually harder for us to make decisions, and people are making decisions to get into relationships later, and they're having a more difficult time. So that's
Yeah.
very interesting if you want to check it out.
Yeah, I would love that. If you could send that over to us, that'd be great. We can post it in the
Yeah,
chat too, in the
yeah.
comments. Yeah.
I'll look for
Um, yeah. So speaking along those lines then, Erica, what do you look for in a future partner? Give us some like an insight.
Oh my god. Okay. So as I was dating, like growing up, I feel like
Mhm.
the most important thing is compromise and also
Oh yeah.
communication. Only because like, when you do go into like in a relationship, it's not going to be easy, especially if you guys have different perspectives. Yes, you guys have like probably like good banter and like same interests, but in terms of
Mhm.
personality, they can clash. And um you just kind of have to like realize that, in a more sensible way of trying to like make it work together.
Yeah,
um
that
yeah.
makes
and then
sense.
yeah, communicating, like if they're going to be like your partner for life, like you should, yeah, be as open as you can, and then
At the
life is
very
too
least,
short.
exactly,
Yeah,
girl, you're right. I mean, like, you should at least be able to commute and talk, have a good conversation with them.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're like with communication, it's really how you settle your differences that really
Hmm.
matters. I've learned too, I'm sure, like as your personal experience and what you've kind of given us so far, that's really important and that matters. I feel that
Yeah,
like so important.
for sure.
I think that's a
Yeah.
really mature answer. I think like
hmm
for younger girls, maybe like their priority is more like attraction level or like
hmm
um s- like humor or like certain type of things that they look for in guys, how
Hmm.
interesting they are. But yeah, I think in terms of like a long-term relationship, compatibility is definitely the number one factor.
Yeah.
hmm
And that's like the reason why a lot of relationships don't work, unfortunately, like even if you might be really, really attracted to the other person. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
Yeah.
think
that's
that's
true.
something that comes with age that you realize with age. Yeah.
hmm
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So in terms of like compatibility in Erica, so I know you said like computer games, like video games are a must to be able to game with you, right? What else what else did you feel like is compatible for you?
um I mean, being an introvert too, like I also like going out. but yeah, they have to like have a. I feel like I'm sounding like a lot, but
All
it's
good,
like
girl.
it's like they can be introverted but also be extroverted. Like they like to go out too and experience new
Yeah.
things, maybe
Mhm.
travel.
Yeah.
I just want
Yeah.
them to be as open, and I guess it's a thing too. Like I want them to be as open and comfortable around me as much as they can. And then as
Yes.
like we get more serious, like we could just talk about like future stuff or more serious topics.
Yeah.
Like yeah, in terms of like
Hmm.
comfort, like in whatever
Yeah.
they're comfortable with.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean that's how like you grow together as a couple, right? So you start
Oh
from
yeah,
like
another
super
thing,
fun
yeah.
loving stuff. Yeah, exactly. And then the more you get to know each other, the more you guys grow together and the more serious topics you guys get to
Yeah.
discuss. So so
Mhm.
important.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's another thing too, like when I'm in a relationship, I really want to like learn.
Hmm.
Especially like, I feel like I don't know everything, and but I would like to like know as much as I can. And like especially with being with someone with not the same personality, I would like to like learn how to be like a better person, um growing with that person, or like whoever.
Yeah.
Hmm. For sure. I mean, ideally people are supposed to grow together in a relationship, like you were
Yeah.
saying, and you don't want to stay stagnant because that's just not progress, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not.
Um
Yeah, like even if
um,
like a relationship is perfect, that's great, but
mhm.
there has to be some sort of like learning from something, like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like there's no such thing as like perfect relationship.
And I feel like the more you get to know each other and as you grow as like together as a couple, you grow as a person too, which is cool. I mean, you're not going to
Yeah.
get exactly the same person to date. And if you do, that's great, that you guys get along real well. But if you guys are
Yeah.
different, you get to learn different things from each other, which is another huge part of
Hmm.
a relationship. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
All right.
So now we're gonna dive into your past relationships and get a
Oh
little bit
man.
more personal. um, how
Okay.
many relationships have you been in the past? And how do you think those experiences have or could help you with dating in the future?
Oh, okay. I feel like I've been in like maybe like 4 or 5 serious relationships.
Oh God. What about the
Dang,
non-serious
girl.
one?
Um, I mean, they were just like, uh, we were just seeing each other.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it is
I
There's,
with
mean,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
that's just how that's how I try to do like
Yeah.
date. I kind of like maybe be friends, and if we're not friends at first, I'll be like, oh, okay, let's just try this out. If it doesn't work, we'll let each other know. Yeah, but I guess like 4 or 5, like seriously, I've been in serious relationship.
Mhm.
Dude, props to you, man.
And like,
uh,
what
sorry.
has there been any like significant or profound experiences that you've learned
Oh
that
yeah.
you feel like you could help you with dating in the future?
Yeah, for sure. So each of those relationships, I learned at least like one thing. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
even if they are perfect
Yeah.
per se, like it was just something that like, oh, I learned to like compromise, or
Mhm.
I learned
Mm,
that like even if some relations are bad, it's like something that I don't want to look for, and I thought I was okay with.
Yeah.
um
mhm.
yeah, so it's just each one of those things, no matter how, if it's positive or negative, I try
Right.
to like learn as much as I
Hmm.
can from those relationships. um but I think the biggest one, and unfortunately I feel like this is very like common, especially like in our generation or our age group, is that mental abuse is like becoming a thing in relationships, and it's really
Yeah.
sad that's like becoming common.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone's like uh experiencing it, but when I was going through it, it was
Hmm.
really hard to like get out of. And
Yeah.
luckily I had friends, or a friend that would help me snap out of it. And it
Hmm.
was and I was stubborn back then, and I kept trying to back him up, like, no, he's a good guy, but in reality he wasn't. He was just playing with my head, wanting to
Yeah.
wanted me to stay with him, even though he was just like guilt tripping me a lot, and just, oh, he was just too
Mhm.
much.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you're in a situation like that, what was something that was like really helpful to pull you back out of that mindset?
Well, luckily, it was just my friend. And luckily he's very like adamant on getting me out of it because he couldn't stand me going through that. And
Mm,
I'm hoping like if other people are watching this and going through this, that they can
mhm.
like someone needs to like help them. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and even even the abuser is like looking bad. I also feel like bad for them because like, well, why are they doing that? Like maybe they
Mhm.
need some kind of like help.
Yeah.
um and hopefully like they can get that help, and or they can like realize like, oh, I realize I'm hurting them,
Mhm.
and I don't want them to like I hope they just realize that it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
agree with that.
accountability is so important. So,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
important, you know? I
Yeah.
feel like also when you date somebody, a mark of who they are as people is who they surround themselves with, right? Like, do they have a good
Yeah.
support system, you know? And I think that's super important to know. And that way, integrating your lives together, like that's a process that you're going to have to most likely consider, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah, I
sure.
really want to thank you for
Yeah.
opening up and sharing that experience with us. Um,
Yeah.
because abuse is not just physical,
Yeah.
and emotional abuse hurt and involves manipulation, isolation, victim blaming, shaming,
Mhm.
Yeah, guilt
also,
tripping.
yeah, like gaslighting and all of these
Oh
things.
yeah.
Oh my gosh,
And
yeah.
it would make you feel like it's your fault, and it's those are hard to leave. And
Mhm.
like I really agree with what you said. Most of the time it's because the abusers themselves have experienced that in their past, whether it's from a different partner or growing up from their parents. It
Mhm.
really it's their upbringing and their environment that contribute to that. So um a lot of times it I mean, it's not to justify their actions or feel pity for them,
Right.
but it's more like having empathy and considering that they were once a victim too, and so
Mhm.
that kind of allows us to move on and forgive and recover. I think that
Yeah.
begins the healing process. But I am curious, so like, does that experience make you want to avoid similar types of guys in the future? um and do you think this experience has helped you identify red flags better? And if so, like, what are some of the red flags that you want to share with the audience?
Actually, so I guess that guy who was mentally abusing me, I kind of I don't know how he developed it, but like he well, I mean, I was like 16 back then, but
Oh, you're so young. I'm so
Oh my
sorry.
gosh.
no,
Yeah,
it's all
that's a
good.
very young age to
16.
experience
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
That's
know, it's
tough, man.
fine. No, I'm actually glad I went through it, even though it's like really bad. But
that.
like, well, no, it just made me become like the
Positive
person.
outlooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, I guess it's funny when you mention that because my current boyfriend, he kind of has like my like that
Oh.
other guy's like traits, but in the like his positive traits.
Mm,
Wow.
okay.
Okay.
But yeah, but I just took the chance. Like, well, I mean, what are the chances
Aw.
of him like doing that again? But
Yeah.
no, he's not like that at all.
Hmm.
But I guess the red flags is, and it's not even just him, like other guys I've been on dates with, like they're really self-conscious and they kind of just like blame you for like how you are. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know, it's just like little things like, yeah, like blaming you or um so, like I'm kind of sensitive, so when or when a guy's like um I don't know, oh my god, I'm drawing a blank, sorry.
No worries, girl.
like kind of displaying narcissism characteristics,
Yeah,
like everything is always somebody else's fault and they're not the
yeah,
one to blame kind of attitude.
yeah. But I don't know. For him, like when I saw it, it was a gradual thing. I don't know where
Mhm.
he got it from, but
Yeah.
it was just like I I guess like well, being young, he was also like very self-conscious. He
Hmm.
just didn't know how to like handle his emotions, so he would just like take it out on me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not
So
okay on
I
any level.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, of course not. But
Mm,
yeah, I have no idea like how this came, but red flags,
mhm,
like anything negative that actually, so yeah, with red flags, if you feel like in your gut that it's not good,
Mhm.
leave.
mhm. Yeah,
Like no
for
Like,
matter
sure.
how passionate you are about the relationship
Yeah.
or like how
yeah,
much you're attracted to the person, if he's not treating you good, then that's a deal
Hmm.
breaker. Yeah.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
because when I was in that relationship, I knew, like, I think 2 years into it, it wasn't right. But I know
Hmm.
back then I was afraid to be alone.
Oh my
Mhm.
And
gosh. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why I stayed. But in my gut, I know it was not okay. But
Hmm.
like now, I feel like now it's helped me so much. Like listening to
Yeah,
your gut really helps.
for sure.
Oh,
I mean, sometimes your gut feeling is it's hard to ignore, but sometimes just like, brain versus heart, right? So their brain is always like
Right.
logically, that this is a bad situation, but your heart's like, no,
Hmm.
I really care about him. Like, I care about this relationship, and just having to battle that out and having to pick like logic over that is so difficult. And like, props to you for coming out of that.
Oh.
And you came out stronger too. So thank you for sharing. That's so
Oh
important.
no, thank you.
Yeah. I feel like with gaslighting, I feel that it's easy for them to be able to kind of get you in that mindset, this is your fault. Like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
And I feel like when it comes to your friend picking you out of that, I feel like that was an outsider looking in. And the
Yeah.
fact that he was able to get you out of that was such a positive impact on you, I feel like. So thanks
Oh yeah.
for that, like, that advice for people um to be able to have friends and to be able to talk to their friends. Because when I was in a relationship that was um kind of borderline emotionally abusive, like
Hmm.
I wasn't able to talk to my friends because we were supposed to be like that couple who just never fought in front of people, or like never like brought things up to their friends, who just dealt with things privately. And I feel like that was really detrimental, because in the end I needed my friends' support. You know what I mean? But then I just felt like I wasn't supposed to be able to tell my friends these things. So thank you for reminding us that it is super important to reach out
Yeah,
when
it
you're in
is.
trouble.
Communication, man. Even
yeah.
Yeah,
like relationship or
communication.
out, you gotta communicate.
Exactly. Girl, so important. So we
Um,
do have, let's see, we do have a couple questions though from the chat.
Okay.
Um, so he was saying, do you think dating sometimes takes a bit of a leap of faith after experiencing certain traumas?
Yes. For
Yes.
sure. Like, no, like uh, that's ironic because in this
Mhm.
relationship right now, I was really unsure. So I kind of friend zoned him. Um,
Okay,
and
that's
then I
okay.
started to like hang out with him more, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's something. Maybe I should just probably go with it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
just going with it right now. But yeah, like
yeah.
if you feel like you have some sort of like feeling for that person, I feel like you
Hmm.
should just go for it. I mean, yeah, the only thing that's gonna hurt is like both like hurting each other. But like I said, communication is like really important. Like when I told
Hmm.
my current boyfriend, like, hey, I have feelings, but I'm not sure if they're gonna be like genuine or like I forgot how I worded it, but basically I just told him like I'm not sure if like where this is gonna go, but I have feelings for you, and he's like, cool,
There you
let's
go.
just like try it out.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's just communication, man. Just if you feel
Hmm.
like you have something, just go with it, and then just be open about it as comfortably as you can.
Yeah,
Obviously.
right.
Yeah.
And I guess we have other questions that kind of builds off of that. How do
Mhm.
you get a guy that doesn't like to talk about their emotions open
Oh man.
up? Another tangent.
Oh man. That's funny because my last relationship, he was kind of like that. But I don't know. As long as they are open to like what you like to do and what you want, and then they're compromising as well. I feel like there
Mhm.
shouldn't really be anything wrong. I hope.
Mhm.
But for a guy who doesn't like want to show any emotion, yeah, I feel like that's pretty hard to um I don't know, like I guess I'm just an emotional person. But
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with it. Like that's their choice. But I ideally then probably their partner should just be as like not like I guess the same, I guess, like they don't want to talk about their emotions and they're just like
Mm-hmm.
happy with that fact, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I mean, I think toxic masculinity is real, and a lot of men, especially in Asian culture, are they grew up stoic, their dad is like that. So they do
Mm-hmm.
have difficulty expressing their emotions. I mean, that's not to say like all Asian American guys are like that and only Asian American, but I do think it's a common factor because women tend to
Yeah.
be emotional and guys have a difficult time expressing themselves. And I think, like you said, communication is definitely the key, and it takes
Mhm.
both parties to be willing to work on it. And I think that's
Yeah.
a very serious issue if it's not given attention to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in Asian culture, especially, we're taught, and even as kids, right? You're taught to just don't cry. You're going to deal with this, you're going to move on, and that's it. Like, you don't talk
Mhm.
about your feelings, you don't talk about how to solve your feelings, you don't talk about processing. And like,
Mhm.
I feel like where our parents growing up, we didn't have that environment. I feel like it's a very Western idea to be talking about being open with how you feel, processing how you feel, even going to therapy or like going to your friends to talk about things like that. And I feel like most of the time you have to put on a front. You know what I mean? Like I was taught to put on
Yeah.
a front growing up, and like in a way that was what we saw, it was what we knew, and that's how we ended up processing things. We're not allowed to feel. We're allowed only we can only say a few things, and all of a sudden, like emotions would just kind of bottle, and eventually they would explode, and that's never a good way to deal with it. So I
Yeah.
think the object of toxic masculinity and um, things like cultural norms as well plays a huge part in how a person views and sees communication, and
Yes.
transferring that to a relationship. It's kind of a whole new world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Awesome. So I guess another question from us on the chat though. So if they don't show emotions for you, is that a red flag?
Oh, I wouldn't say it's a red flag, but
Mm-hmm.
it is something that I mean, as long as they communicate that,
Mm-hmm.
hey, like I'm not comfortable with it, and then, but the thing is, like, I want them to also be comfortable with what they have issues with, rather than trying to like
Yeah.
figure it out themselves. Otherwise, it's just like I don't know. Like I guess when I went through it, I was just frustrated a little bit, because I want to help and like I don't know like how if guys feel like this, but they say like, "Ugh, I don't want any woman to help me, like I'm a man." No,
Yeah.
like when you're in a relationship,
Shut it
like
down.
Like
yeah, like
they don't want to be
you're
vulnerable.
Oh my
yeah, like
gosh,
this is
girl,
the
I
time to be
know. I feel
vulnerable.
that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
You guys are gonna be one. Like if you guys are gonna be serious, like you guys are just gonna end up being one like entity anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why trying to like separate yourself? It's gonna happen
That's
one day
so
if you
true.
want
Yeah.
it like seriously.
That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Let's see, one of my friends actually just personally texted me just now, and she was asking, so how do you distinguish between what's okay to discuss with your friends and what's not? We're getting a lot of these like questions and open dialogue, which I
Oh,
love.
okay. Sorry, what was the question?
So, she was asking, so how would you distinguish between what's okay to talk about with your friends versus like what's not?
Oh, that's up to you.
Mm,
Like I said in the beginning, I'm an open book. I also do have like boundaries, where I would tell my friends and what I wouldn't tell my friends. But normally,
mm-hmm,
I want to be as open as possible, just so I can get different perspectives because my perspective can be wrong, or like they have a much better perspective, or maybe I like
mm-hmm.
mine better. I just like to get other inputs. um just so I can like compare and choose which one is the right one that I want to go with. But
Yeah.
with yeah, like it just all depends on you, whatever you're comfortable with,
Mm-hmm,
like how whatever you want to share with your friends. And if there is something that you feel like on the edge, like I don't know if I want to tell them, then just tell them
mm-hmm,
like, oh, just keep this between us, but and then
mm-hmm.
yeah, that's like some
Yeah.
sort of like trust thing too. Like you gotta trust their like
Yeah. For sure. For sure. So, Wendy,
Next
the next
question.
question.
Yeah, and this question also deals with our Asian American identity. Um,
Hmm.
so being an Asian American woman, how do you think your identity influences your dating experience? Either in positive or negative ways. Could you share some of your interracial dating experience, if there are any?
Yeah, I actually like dated both Asian and uh, other ethnicities. um, they're honestly, in terms of culture, um, there really isn't much of a difference.
Mhm.
Only because the ones I've dated were born in America.
Mhm. I see.
But there is some sort of like culture, because like they grew up with like Filipino or like
Mhm.
Indonesian, like
Mhm.
like different kinds of cultures. But um, I feel like they're all the same ish.
Mhm.
Of course, like personality is like what's separating them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But in terms of like, I guess, dating, just and well, there isn't really no like positive or negative. It's just
Mhm.
whoever like person it is, I guess. Um, I guess I just never dated anyone with like a very strong like cultural background.
I
Okay.
see. I see.
Yeah.
But
Gotcha. Gotcha.
your current boyfriend right now, is he Caucasian?
Oh no, he is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I only asked that because I kind of did a little bit like a Facebook stalking. I
Oh.
wasn't assuming or anything because I thought I saw a picture of you and your boyfriend. I was
Oh,
not
girl.
making a stereotypical comment.
Okay. No, it's okay. No, he is half Hispanic, like El Salvadorian, and the other half is Chinese Indonesian.
Oh, that's so
Hmm.
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
That's so
Southeast Asia. What up?
multiracial.
Yeah.
That's very diverse. But
um. Oh yeah. Sorry.
yeah, like I kind of want to ask your opinion on this because you are Japanese. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like and like historically speaking, Asian American women have always been seen as submissive and exotic to Western
Oh
culture.
yeah.
So and
For
especially
sure.
Japanese women because of the whole anime and the Japanese culture fetish. So like how do you think that has affected your dating life? Like do you feel like your Japanese American identity sometimes is an appeal to certain people that are infatuated with that culture?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess I should have. Yeah. Um. So it's ironic that you mentioned that because when in high school, like everyone had that mind, like, oh, you're gonna be submissive, and
Yeah.
like, and that's how like I guess my ex, the one that was mentally abusing, kind of got that idea. So
Mhm.
that's why he just took advantage of it.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
obviously, like now, I don't really have that perspective anymore.
Mhm.
Um, I totally have like an American like perspective now.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I guess like dating now, I haven't really seen it in terms of like
Mhm.
what they expect me to be.
Yeah.
I did get questions like, "Oh, do you have any other like Japanese friends that like are like that?" And I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't really have a lot of Japanese friends, but they're not really like that. No, not that I know
Got- Gotcha. Gotcha.
of.
Uh, I totally get that. I mean, I feel like I guess a lot of Caucasian men before this current day and age have seen Asian women as like something completely exotic, like when you were saying, right? And so the whole like even like yellow fever was a thing back then too. And
Yeah.
then even like on dating apps, you'll get these guys who will like ask you like, "Hey, do you like anime? Do you like this?" And I'm like, "Whoa, okay, let's
Oh
not get
yeah.
into that
Do you like
zone." You know what I mean?
sushi?
Do I like sushi? I
That's
do
one
like
I
sushi.
Yeah.
got.
Dude, man, I don't know why, but I think it's also like the idea of the Asian, like the model minority, right? We're supposed to be like meek. We're supposed to be able to, um, we're supposed to be able to have a certain expectation of us to be like soft spoken. But I feel like I'm like you, Erica. I'm the kind of person who's like blows it out of them. You know what? Forget being
Hell
soft
yeah.
spoken. I'm just gonna like tell you what I feel, and you either take it or you leave it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say someone asking in the chat, if a non-Asian guy knew more about Asian culture, does that make it easier? So someone who really understands in your
Oh,
experience.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely does, especially like I'm a foodie, so
Hell yeah.
I like to talk
Yes,
about like
girl. Me too.
other
Oh my.
That's
like
why we're
I,
here in LA, right?
I
Ramen.
Oh,
I know.
man.
But yeah, but like it helps that like they know like other foods that I'm talking about, and if they don't, I just kind of like explain what it is, and they're like,
Mhm.
oh. I'm like, well, are you willing to try it? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
willing to try. I'm like, and yeah, and like I do the same with like with my current boyfriend. I don't know anything about Indonesian food, and he like
Ooh.
showed me. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but like knowing some sort of like culture would definitely help because like especially if you're like you grew up with it and you feel very nostalgic that and you want
Hmm.
to share that with your partner, like I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
it does help immensely.
Yeah. And it helps with like the growth that you were talking about too, like growing
Yeah.
together and like cultural and like food is so important in Asian culture, because
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like I don't know about you guys, but my entire family gatherings revolve around food. It doesn't matter what we do, there's always food there. Like
Yeah.
Chinese New Year, for example, or like Christmas or like Thanksgiving. So I hear
Yeah.
that like it's so important for you to be able to share that part of your culture too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
This one revolves around the last question we asked. From the audience, have you ever been with a man who is actually emotionally aware and expressive? And how do you experience being with somebody like that?
Oh. um oh man. I so I'm sorry I can't help that much because I'm currently in a relationship like that. Like he is
Mhm.
emotionally aware, um,
I see.
and I actually love it because it's like, oh man, I don't have to do like a lot of work. You could just tell me.
You don't have to initiate all the
I,
conversations.
I know you don't have to
Yeah,
guess or play mind games or anything like that.
exactly.
Oh
Yeah, like
yeah.
just like, oh cool, tell me how it is. Oh okay,
Yeah.
I'll help as much as I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like I'm like dating someone who I mean, and also it depends on like if you're like that and the other person isn't like that. Hopefully they can understand like
Yeah.
where you like came from, like why
Mhm.
you're being like that, and then maybe they can like be open to also being a little bit more emotional, just
Mhm.
so like you guys can be on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah.
Compromise.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude, compromise is important. Compromise
Yeah,
and communication.
yeah,
And I think like when two people in a relationship are both very emotional and expressive, um, it I think there's a level of sensitivity, like for
yeah.
both parties. And where was I going with this? I don't remember. Okay, it'll
Uh,
come back to me.
okay.
All good. All good. So, actually, one more question, a couple more questions about food from the chat.
Oh,
So, what
okay.
if they don't like eating Asian food? Is that a deal breaker? And if your partner only wants to cook non-Asian food, is that a deal breaker?
Oh my god.
Tough questions, guys. I'm enjoying these.
Oh man. Sorry, what was the first question?
So, what if they don't like eating Asian food?
I mean,
Doesn't like to eat Asian food. I've never met
I
somebody who
know
doesn't like to eat
sushi.
Asian
Bye.
food. Oh, come on.
Oh man,
Oh, it's
I
so good.
I guess for me, yeah, I guess it's a deal breaker. Like they have to eat
Hmm.
everything.
Agreed. Agreed.
You have to
Girl.
appreciate the dim sum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
dim sum.
Oh my gosh, guys. I did date someone who was a Caucasian who was just like very picky about food.
Like
And oh
chicken
my
fingers
God.
are a no-no or
Yeah, not
pussy.
even but even like traditional Chinese foods
Or
like
like
I don't know, like
chicken liver.
spicy things.
Oh
Yeah,
my
actually
god.
I don't even eat that stuff to be honest with you. Like I wouldn't even eat like chicken liver. I'll eat intestine, that's fine, or like stomach, but
Oh,
just like
okay.
anything irony kind of freaks me out. I don't know why.
Ooh.
But like it made our date so much harder because we only ate American food and the closest thing you get to Asian is like sushi. And I'm
Mhm,
just like, there's so much more to your palate than just that stuff. I don't know,
mhm.
guys. It was hard. It was hard.
Yeah. You have
Like
to appreciate what you
Americanized Chinese
yeah.
food, like panda.
Yeah, oh,
Oh my god.
to be fair, panda is delicious, but it's also not real Chinese food.
Yeah.
You like it?
I love Panda Express sometimes. I was like craving that orange chicken and like the really bad chow mein
Oh my
for you.
god.
You're craving orange chicken?
It's really
Wow.
bad. So my closest substitute would be the Trader Joe's kind, which isn't as like sinful because you can bake it, deep fry it, but that's my preference.
Man, like Norman just can't stop with all the food questions.
I know. All right, Norman, we're gonna move on for food, and then we'll come back to the food if you got time. Okay, dude. So I guess going along those lines of like commonalities, right? How
Okay.
important is having common interests with your partner? Like you were saying, for example, you were saying like video games, right? So going back to another question that we had, is it important for someone to be able to play video games with you, or for your significant other to do that with you?
Yes, 100%.
100p, yes, girl.
Yeah. But in terms of like having common interests, yeah, I feel like it's really important. Otherwise, like, yeah, in terms of personality, like I feel like that's like really rare to have like someone who's just like you. That's great, but also interest, like, what are you guys going to do together? Like, you guys can watch like Netflix, that's cool too. Play video games, you can like go out and explore, like go to museums or go to the park.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like interest is like something that you guys should like do together in terms of like trying to create that bond, and especially like going out, you kind of like get to know each other a little bit more because like you guys are like in this environment that's like pretty chill, or like whatever you're feeling, then like you feel like some sort of like, what's that pheromone? It's like serotonin or something. Like you feel like happy, and then like,
Endorphin.
yeah,
Endorphins.
endorphins.
Yes.
Sorry,
There you
I
go.
don't
I was like, what?
yeah. Um, just like that's just what creates the mood and like creates that bond, and then
Yeah.
same thing with like, just whatever you're doing. It's just you're creating that bond.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Okay. I will ask the next question. Have you ever encountered any familial, social, or peer pressure that encourages you to settle down due to age? Because I think as Asian American women, there's kind of like an expectation that we need to settle down before a certain age. I think 30 is kind of like the big prominent number.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, as females, we do have a biological clock, but
We do, yeah.
as women from the Asian American culture who are more conservative and traditional, they kind of want us to do that as quickly as possible for some reason. When you bring a boyfriend home, the next thing they ask is about marriage. So like, have you
Yes.
ever experienced anything like that? Do you want to share some of your experience from family and friends?
I feel so bad 'cause like I'm so like American, so I can't really.
All good, girl.
But I do. Thank you. I do understand like the cultural, like like the Asian culture, like yeah, you have to get married and have kids, and not even just us, but like also like other ethnicities. They want grandkids, they want something to pass down their lineage. But fortunately, my mom is afraid of one like me and my sister ever having kids or something. She doesn't want to be a grandma, so I don't.
Wow. That's different.
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate and I kind of have like that that mindset of like, this is like my body, it's my choice. Like I don't want to have kids, or or maybe I do. I don't know, but it's like my choice. It's not like I don't have any pressure of my mom hounding me.
That's good.
My uncle though, yes, for sure.
Your uncle, okay.
What?
He has no say.
You're not even my dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I do feel bad for like people who have to like go through that. And I mean, I feel like ideally it's up to that person. Like if they want kids, go for it. If they don't, then don't. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's so frustrating to like, you're that, because it's like it's their choice. You shouldn't have.
Plus, kids are like huge.
Pressured.
Yeah. I mean, kids are a huge responsibility. Like, I have a dog, and that dog is already my fur child.
Yeah, I feel like that too. Like, A pet can also be like a child.
Exactly. A fur child. It's still a child. Just
Yes.
it's fuzzy, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
uh, so question on the chat, do you think opposites attract go well with a healthy relationship?
No.
No.
I
You have a
personally,
very
I
like
don't.
solid answer.
But this is all my
Wow.
opinion.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
This is just all my opinion, though. I feel like it
Yeah.
doesn't, only because, like, well, like, then what do you go? You guys are going off just by being opposites. Like, I mean, I
Mm,
maybe I need an example because for me, I see it as like if two people are not, if they're like opposite, like one person is emotional, the other person isn't. Um, I mean, I guess in terms of like maybe if they're both open and they both want to share their opinion, then
Mhm.
sure, like maybe it could work out. But I feel like relationship is just two people with the same interests and
Mhm.
some sort of commonality, and then they go together.
I would agree. Yeah. I mean, with people who are like complete opposites, right? I mean, I think it's okay for people to be different because you need the differences, like you were saying before,
Yeah,
make
to
it
be able to
fun.
learn and grow from each other. But if it's like too much of a polar difference and then too much of a polar opposite, like end to end, I feel like that would be
yeah,
kind of clashing, you know?
Yeah. Well, in
yeah,
order for you to have a long-term stable relationship, you kind of have to have similar values and priorities in
Hmm.
life.
yeah.
Um, and then it's interesting because there was a study on this um, that shows that initially opposites are more attractive to each other, but as time go on, partners rate themselves as each other as less attractive, and they view somebody who's more
Oh, wow.
compatible as more
Ooh.
attractive as time goes on. Yeah, so like I agree. Like initially, I think there's probably more chemistry. It's more interesting to meet somebody
Mhm.
who's different from you. But if you were
Hmm.
to settle down with someone, you definitely want to find someone who's like a similar backgrounds. It just
Hmm.
there's less clashes and less conflicts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So I guess on to the next question. What is one piece of dating advice you would share with a female peer? Someone who's like in your age range at the moment.
Oh. um. Definitely try to be as open as possible.
Mhm.
Um. And yeah, communication is so important. I just can't stress it enough.
Girl,
Only
yes, absolutely.
yeah, because like they, uh, those memes that's like, like guys can't are they're not mind readers, and like the girl expects the guy to know, like no, like
Like, why
that
don't you
actually would
know
piss
that?
them off.
Duh.
Oh,
Yeah,
like the passive aggressive meme, like
yeah,
oh, when you said you're okay, but then you sit like
Oh
this.
my God,
yeah,
yes. And you say you're okay, but you really not okay.
I'm
yeah,
fine.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
exactly.
I'm fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
It's not
But
fine.
yeah, like for sure, like communication is just so important.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I get another thing that I guess I forgot to mention in terms of like the whole mental abuse. Um I to this day I'm still triggered by this word. So my ex at that time, or my boyfriend at the time, he would always say, I sacrifice so much for
Oh
you,
my gosh.
or I
Uh,
sacrifice, and so that word just triggers the fuck out of me.
My
But
mom says that too.
yeah, I
oh
hate
man.
that. Yeah, even not even, yeah, I guess so. Like
Like we
that
came
word,
here all the way from China for you, kind of thing.
yeah. Like no
Dang,
one should ever be
yeah.
put in that. Like no.
Hmm.
No tripping. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a thing, like people, I guess, who are like maybe borderline like mentally abusing someone, they would say like sacrifice instead of compromise.
Mhm.
So um yeah, like I guess for the person, the victim, I guess, should differentiate sacrifice and compromise. Like the big
Hmm.
difference is like if the victim is okay with it.
Yeah.
Right,
I think
right. And
language
it's
is very important, like the use of words. Like
Yeah,
hmm
sacrifice is a
definitely.
very strong word
It
and
is.
it
it's not
is.
appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not to mention when you're sacrificing something, you don't want to explicitly say that you did it because you do it, I feel
Yeah,
like, because you care for the person and you don't necessarily have to be like, I did this for you. Like, how could
Yeah.
you,
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really tough. So a question from the audience: how do you tell a girl to be strong enough to leave the guy that doesn't put in the work to make the relationship work?
Oh god.
Tough hitting questions, guys.
I know these are tough.
Mm-hmm.
um, sorry, can you repeat it again?
Sure. How do you tell a girl to be strong enough to leave the guy that doesn't put in the work for the relationship?
I mean, have they told them
I don't know. That's a good question.
because if I'm assuming it's like their friend, if I was that person's friend, I would just say it. Like my friend when I was going through the whole mental abuse, and me being stubborn, it took him like months for him to make me realize that that was wrong.
Mhm.
And so if you're like if your friend is suffering, I would stay with them as much as I could in order for them
Mm,
to realize that you are not in a really in a good relationship. He is not good for you. And actually I have
yeah,
done that with my friend.
yeah.
And I would try to stay with them as much as I can. And if they are, I guess, in a way, if you have to word it to make it, not so like brutal, um, just think about it a bit and then try to word it in a way like they can, for sure they will listen. Because I know,
Right, right.
when someone's saying, they feel like they're being victim, not a victim, but they feel like they're at blame. Oh, well, they're blaming me because I'm not doing anything well in this relationship, and they're just blaming the other person.
Mm,
Yeah, wording is also really important too. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, if they're your friend, you just be adamant, stay with them, help them as much as they can. And then also
yeah.
um who knows, maybe that person who's, I'm not saying the person who's asking the question is wrong, but maybe they can give some insight onto why that person's still staying in the relationship.
Right,
Mm,
right.
yeah, I
That's a
think
good.
that's really true. A lot of times there's a sense of attachment and they're
Yeah.
really dependent on that person and they don't feel like they could be themselves once they leave. And
Mm,
a lot of times it's low self-esteem and insecurities. I think getting to the
Yeah.
root of the problem is very crucial. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah. So I guess a couple more questions, if you guys don't mind, from the
Okay.
live chat. People are
Okay.
very engaged in this topic. They really like what you're having to say, Erica. That's so cool.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
yes, yeah. So what if the guy's like, I want to marry you, but the guy isn't a good choice, and the girl is hesitant, but she wants to get married. Do you just let your friend be, or do you kind of butt in and be like, hey, you probably shouldn't marry him? Like, what would you have to say about that? Because marriage is like a huge step, right?
Yeah, that's a huge
Mm-hmm.
thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with expressing your concern, for sure. Um, but I feel like in that situation, if they feel like they have to say something, and nothing gets resolved, all you can do is just say "Oh, I've done my part." I wouldn't really it would suck, to interfere because that's their business. But then if you feel like something isn't right, then you should express it.
I agree with that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
your
yeah.
responsibility when you have an opportunity to help your friend that's making a wrong decision. And
Yeah.
but yeah, like you said, like you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. And a lot of the tough lessons, they have to go through it in order to learn from
Hmm.
the experience. Yeah. I agree
Exactly.
with you. Yeah.
But yeah, having them express, there's nothing wrong expressing your opinion. It's just it's up to the other party to take it or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think marriage
Yeah.
is a big deal. As a big deal. I think if you felt like it's not a good match, it's forever. Marriage is not something you can just lightly, be
Yeah.
like, hey, there is the option of divorce, but unfortunately, you don't want to go into a marriage and be like, oh, I'm gonna leave this person if I absolutely have to.
Mm.
Also, it's expensive.
So, oh, girl, yeah, yeah, lawyers, and if it gets
Oh
messy, you have
Yeah,
god.
kids. Yeah, absolutely.
for sure.
All right. Mm-hmm. All
Okay.
right.
So it looks like we have one last question.
Okay.
Do you think observing your parents' relationship growing up has influenced your dating preference and relationship ideals in any way? how has your parents' dynamic influenced your preference in men?
Oh, I wasn't very close with my parents in the beginning. So I didn't, I mean, yeah, I definitely like asked about like love because it's such an interesting topic. But they weren't very open, because like Asian parents,
Yeah.
they weren't very open
Mhm.
about that. So I mostly learned a lot from movies.
Hollywood, nice. Okay,
Wait,
there
are
we
you
go.
talking about
Entertainment
like Korean
industry.
drama?
Oh no, like this is such a bad example, but I watched like a lot of this really old, it's not really old movie, but some awkward ass movie, and it's called Superstar.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, why is that girl so obsessed with like love? And then it just
Mm.
made me like think about it. But yeah, like my parents didn't really affect my relationship. Other than, well, I guess it's something like going back to what I said earlier. It's something that I don't like, some things that they did that I didn't want in a relationship. Because I think at that time they weren't very close. Um, and yeah, like, and that's the thing too. Yeah, I guess like seeing my parents' relationship compared to like movies, I'm like, why aren't my parents like that? And I just like chose like, oh, I like what I see in movies.
That seems, more relatable. Yeah,
It's
I
more
totally get
Yeah,
that.
passionate and
it
exciting.
is. Yeah,
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 but then the
yeah.
reality is the day in and the day out, and the cooking and the
that's
cleaning.
true. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
exactly. The
Yeah,
sitting on the couch and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, we should probably wrap it up. We got 5 more minutes. So, does anybody have any final thoughts on dating in your 20s? Any must-dos and don'ts?
Oh. Um, I mean,
Communication, Erica.
yes, communication
Communication,
for
yes.
sure. Um, don't forget compromise. I don't
Compromise
know.
too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Uh, um,
Solid.
be careful, be safe,
Yeah.
That's
especially on
also
those dating
true.
apps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, yes, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And and I guess the last question, Wendy, shall we?
Uh-oh.
What is the last question?
So
You
if
can
we could take away
Oh, take away from today's conversation. What did I learn?
what did you learn?
I mean,
Yes, what did
I
you
learned a
learn?
lot about Erica for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think her dating mentality is very, very mature, and I'm really happy to see that. I mean, I
Mhm.
think it's tragic how like some girls kind of go into it without having any mental preparation, and they go into failed relationships over and over again, and they kind of are unable to learn from their past experience. But it seemed like you had a traumatic experience, but you were able to learn from it, you were able to heal from it, and you're
Mhm.
still willing to take a leap of faith with your current
Yeah.
boyfriend who had similar qualities with your abusive ex. So yeah, like
Yeah.
I think this experience is very important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, Erica, thank you for sharing. I think what I learned most from you is that communication is absolutely important. Like
Yeah.
you cannot have a relationship without that, and like to be also be able to lean on your friends is a huge thing, like how to be a friend, but also like what you need from a friend too. And I think
Yeah.
for us to be able to learn that and to be able to support our friends in that way is so important. And honestly, you can't be without community in a relationship, right? Because eventually you're going to bring your significant other into the community that you're currently in or currently a part of. And that's also a part of growth. So thank you for like
Yeah.
teaching us all of that stuff, Erica. I
Oh, of
really appreciate
course.
that. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So on that note, guys, we are probably going to wrap up this live stream. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe, smash that like button, and then we'll catch you guys in the next one, which will be next week, same time, same place. All right, guys.
Thank
Have a happy
you.
Saturday, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.